Hello students. So in electrochemistry, in the next video, let us discuss fuel cells. What are fuel cells? What are the types in that? Examples for fuel cells and the reactions taking place in fuel cells. Okay, first, what is the use of fuel cells to us? Generally, if you want to produce electrical energy, we use thermal plants. But the production of electrical energy from thermal plants is a major source of pollution, and also the efficiency is very less. Why efficiency is less? Because the chemical energy present in the coal converts into electrical energy in multiple steps, not in a single step. For this reason, the efficiency of thermal plants to produce electrical energy is very less. But in case of galvanic cells, the chemical energy present in that system converts into electrical energy directly. That means in a single step. So in a galvanic cell, the chemical energy converts into electrical energy directly in a single step. So that's why only in this case efficiency is high. So like that, the galvanic cells which are designed to produce electrical energy from the heat of combustion are known as fuel cells. That means in fuel cells, the chemical energy directly converts into electrical energy without any multiple steps, directly. That means in a single step. So that's why only efficiency is high. So like that here in fuel cells, that chemical energy in a single step converts into electrical energy. So approximately that efficiency of the fuel cells is 70%. That means the chemical energy, 70% of chemical energy converts into which one means electrical energy, in which one fuel cells. So like that, due to a single step conversion, efficiency is more in fuel cells. Now let us see what are the fuel cells and which we are using here. So in a fuel cell, fuel and oxidant are used, and it contains two electrodes and one electrolyte. So totally what are that we have to supplement for this? Fuel, oxidant, two electrodes, one electrolyte. So these are the primary cells which can produce electrical energy as long as fuel and oxidants are supplied. As long as fuel and oxidants are supplied, that much time these cells will generate electrical energy or produce electrical energy. So here, what is the representation of fuel cells? Let us see here. A fuel cell represented like this here: fuel, anode, electrolyte, oxidant by cathode. So like this, fuel is passed at anode into the cell, and oxidant is placed near to which one here? Cathode in this cell. So we can represent, okay, we can represent this fuel cell in this way. So fuel and oxidants, as long as we provide this fuel cell produces electrical energy. So now we have to learn which can act as fuel, which can act as electrodes, which can act as oxidants, and what are the types of that fuel cells based on function of temperature or operation of temperature. So now based on the temperature, that means based on the operation of temperature, these fuel cells are classified into three types. Low temperature fuel cells, they work below 200 degrees centigrade. They work at below 200 degrees centigrade. Second one, moderate temperature fuel cells, they work at 100 degrees centigrade to 300 degrees centigrade, in between that range. And third type, high temperature fuel cells, which work at more than 300 degrees centigrade or more than 400 degrees centigrade, like that. So three types of fuel cells are there. And what are the generally used fuels here? So see, generally used fuels, so many fuels we are using in these fuel cells. Examples for them: hydrogen, methane, carbon monoxide, hydrazine. Hydrazine also we can use. Hydrazine. These are the some important fuels we are using in the case of fuel cells: hydrogen, methane, carbon monoxide, or hydrazine. These are the general fuels we are using. And what are the oxidants we are using in these fuel cells? Air, oxygen, hydrogen peroxide, ozone, or HNO3. These are the oxidants we have to use in the case of fuel cells. And what are the electrodes we are using in the case of fuel cells? Electrodes, see here: porous carbon or platinum, PVC, or we can use which one here? Teflon coated with silver. Teflon coated with silver we can use as which one means here? Electrodes. So some other also their examples here: Rene nickel, nickel oxide also we can use. Rene nickel or nickel oxide, these are also used as electrodes. So any one of these questions you may get. What are the fuels used in fuel cells? What are the oxidants used in fuel cells? What are the electrodes used in the fuel cells? Like that we can get the questions. And here in any fuel cell, the chemical energy directly converts into electrical energy. So approximately 70% efficiency is there in case of a fuel cell. Okay, then example for fuel cell is here: hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Hydrogen dash oxygen fuel cell. In this, hydrogen acts as a fuel and oxygen acts as an oxidant. So here we can give the arrangement like this here. From here, hydrogen gas is passed into this cell, and from here oxygen gas. Here let it be the anode. This is anode. And here let it be the cathode. Here electrolyte mixture is taken. That electrolyte mixture contains aqueous KOH plus aqueous NaOH. That mixture is present. That mixture is present as electrolyte. So this is the construction of which one means hydrogen dash oxygen fuel cell. Now, what are the reactions taking place in hydrogen oxygen fuel cell? So here, two reactions we need to write here. The reactions taking place at cathode, reactions taking place at anode. So let us see what are the reactions taking place at cathode. So at cathode here, oxygen gas is passed at cathode. So that undergoes reduction here. O2 plus 2H2O plus 4 electrons will give 4 OH minus. This is the reaction taking place at cathode. And at anode, what is the reaction here? At anode, hydrogen gas is passed near to that anode. So that's why here at anode hydrogen gas undergoes oxidation. So that means here what is the reaction? 2H2 plus 4OH minus gives 4H2O plus 4 electrons. This is the reaction taking place at anode. Now the overall reaction taking place in this hydrogen oxygen fuel cell is, by adding these two reactions we can get 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. Now what is the importance of this hydrogen oxygen fuel cell? Generally these fuel cells are used in aircraft. So what is the need and what is the importance? So the first importance is here, these are very light and convenient to use. That is one of the important applications of fuel cells. These are very light and convenient to use. And another one, here the product is which one? Water. That means in this fuel cell, no harmful product is formed. No harmful product is there. Water is useful for drinking also. That is not a harmful product. And the third importance is high efficiency of the that comparatively with remaining the thermal plants, etc. So like that here, due to high efficiency and due to the formation of no harmful products, and as it is very light and convenient to use, that fuel cells are highly preferred over the remaining. So this is regarding which one? Fuel cells and types of fuel cells. In this, what are the competitive questions you get? So first one, they may give the question that what are the fuels or oxidants or electrodes using in fuel cell? And especially regarding hydrogen oxygen fuel cell, which gas is passed at cathode, which gas is passed at anode, like that we can get the questions. And also overall reaction of hydrogen oxygen fuel cell also we can get overall reaction. So these are the different questions we may get from this topic. Okay, this is regarding fuel cells. And another one here, we have to see the last topic in this. What is that? Corrosion. What is the meaning of corrosion? Let us see here. What is corrosion? For example, if you observe any iron gates inside our houses, after some days we may observe that formation of rust. So that phenomena is known as nothing but corrosion. So now here we know that the metals are extracted from the minerals. What are the minerals? Oxides, sulfides, chlorides, carbonates. From those minerals, generally we can extract the metals. But here, the metal always look forward to convert into its mineral form when environmental conditions are favorable to that. So always the metal look forward to a favorable conditions to convert into its stable mineral form. So now the definition is what here? Now the definition is the spontaneous conversion of a metal into its mineral form when it come in contact with environment or due to the interaction with environment. That is known as corrosion. I repeat again, the spontaneous conversion of a metal into its mineral form on interacting with environment is known as corrosion. What are the examples? Examples see here: rusting of iron. Rusting of iron means what is the product we are expecting? Fe2O3xH2O. Rusting of iron. Tarnishing of silver means silver converts into Ag2S. And formation of green layer on that copper vessels. That means what is the formation? CuCO3. So these are the examples of corrosion. Then what is our next task here? What is the reason for corrosion? What is the mechanism of corrosion? And what are the precautions we have to take to prevent the corrosion? We have to go for that, the remaining topic here. So now here first come to the mechanism of corrosion. Mechanism of corrosion. So what is the mechanism of corrosion means? In a simple word or in a simple sentence, what is that reason means here? Just anodic dissolution. That is nothing but corrosion. Anodic dissolution. That means in galvanic cell we observed that anode undergoes oxidation. That means dissolution. But at cathode reduction takes place. So like that here, this corrosion is nothing but taken it as anodic dissolution. That means here, for example, let it be the metal rod. When the environmental conditions are favorable for the formation of a galvanic cell with this metal, now the anodic part, which acting as anodic part, that undergoes oxidation, means that undergoes corrosion. I repeat again, when for any metal, if the environmental conditions are favorable for the formation of a galvanic cell within the metal rod, that means within the metal rod means one part acts as anode, the other part acts as a cathode. Then only we can expect the formation of galvanic cell. So if the environmental conditions are favorable for the formation of galvanic cell, one part, half of that part act as anode, half of the metal part act as a cathode. The part which acts as anode, that undergoes oxidation, that is nothing but corrosion. So for example, if you consider any one iron rod, of course if the total part is not uniformly in contact with oxygen, that means if excess of oxygen is not uniform on the entire body, now the part which is less access with oxygen acts as anode. The part with more access with oxygen, that acts as a cathode. So I write here, for example, let it be the iron rod. Now this part is less access with oxygen, less access with oxygen or with air. Now this part acts as anode, and if this part is with more access with oxygen, more access with oxygen, this part act as a cathode. Now this anodic part undergoes corrosion, means oxidation, means nothing but anodic dissolution. So like that here, the less access, the part which is with less access with oxygen, that acts as anode. The part which is more access with oxygen, that acts as a cathode. So within the one metal rod, a galvanic cell is created. So this part now undergoes oxidation, means nothing but anodic dissolution, nothing but corrosion. Okay, now let us see this mechanism with rusting of iron taking as an example. So let us see that, let it be the iron rod. Now on this iron rod, this part is with less access to oxygen, so this part act as anode. So and this spot is called anodic spot. So at anodic spot, what is the reaction taking place? Iron undergoes oxidation and produces two electrons. Here electrons are produced. These electrons move through the iron rod and reaches to the next part of this iron rod, another part of the iron rod. Here oxygen undergoes reduction. This part act as a cathodic spot. So at cathode spot, oxygen present in that environment come in contact with this iron rod, that undergoes reduction using H plus ions, using the protons. Now what we can get here? 2H2O. So like that we can get here 2H2O. Now here the iron plus 2 formed at anodic spot, that is oxidized to iron plus 3. That is oxidized to iron plus 3 and combined with this water, and that will form which one here? Fe2O3xH2O. So like that the metal iron now converted into its mineral Fe2O3. So like that here, if any iron rod is present in that near seashore, the dipped part will undergo corrosion, but the part which is open to air, that doesn't undergo corrosion, because in the dipped part, that is with less access to oxygen, but that which is exposed to the air, that is with more access, that is with more access to oxygen. So that's why only the dipped part undergoes corrosion, but the open part not undergoes corrosion. So like that here, within the one metal, a galvanic cell is created. The part which acts as anode, that undergoes corrosion due to less access to oxygen. So this is the mechanism of corrosion. Now we have to see, and sometimes some members may get one doubt. Sir, oxygen is present in the environment, so that is come in contact with iron rod. Of course, the 4 electrons are produced at anode spot. They travel towards the cathode spot. But where from these H plus ions are available? Okay, very simple for that. Generally in environment or in atmosphere, moisture is there. Moisture means nothing but H2O, and carbon dioxide is there. Not a small amount, plenty of carbon dioxide is there in our environment. And that H2O, that means moisture, react with CO2 and form carbonic acid. I write here, the moisture react with carbon dioxide and produces H2CO3. From this H2CO3, these H plus ions might be generated. So like that we have to get the 4 H plus ions from the carbonic acid. Okay, so many students may get the doubts where from H plus ions available for this reaction, where the H plus ions are present in environment. Okay, this is regarding which one here, corrosion. Okay, then after this corrosion, the next topic is here, prevention of corrosion. So generally due to the corrosion, so many, that means iron vessels or bridges or any gate or anything, iron gates, they undergo corrosion. Due to that, what happens, they may be broken easily. So that's why how to prevent the corrosion. So some techniques are there. The first one is here, we have to keep away the metal from environment. How we have to kept away from environment? Just by painting. That's why only in front, in front of our houses we can observe that all that doors or gates are painted, because to prevent the corrosion only. So painting is one of the prevention methods. And second one is, we can cover that metal with which one, bisphenol. We can cover the metal with bisphenol chemical. Like that also we can prevent the metal come in contact with environment. And third one is most important, galvanization with more anodic metal. Galvanization with more anodic metal. So what is the meaning of galvanization? Very simple here. If we want to protect gold, if we want to protect which one here, gold, if we want to prevent gold, that should be galvanized with more anodic metal. More anodic metal than gold, generally which one?